Today I'm talking with Harun Dylan and Dylan Stark of Libricide, a multifaceted rock band based out of New York City. The band has played numerous shows and festivals throughout the tri-state area, from world-renowned venues such as Gramercy Theater and The Bitter End in Manhattan, up north at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie, and at various venues in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and on Long Island. Earlier this year, Libricide released their second album, Consilience. While they started writing the album in 2019, the COVID-19 pandemic hit and posed some challenges to the process.
I mean, yeah, we've been writing for it for a little bit and just sort of working up to it. And just as the pandemic was coming, we had these songs built up. We had kind of enough for full length work and all that. Just kind of makes sense. It's been a long time coming. We didn't get to, put out kind of a follow-up single till like 2020. I know we did a lot of shows kind of at the local level and across the NYC circuit after that first album. But it was really just about damn time. And the timing made sense considering shows were out the window. So yeah, it was really just kind of about capitalizing on the moment. And, not to say that the pandemic didn't have its own kind of issues and hurdles to get over, but it was certainly worth it. And just, you can't do everything you want, but you got to do what you can. So I guess that kind of led us to that. I mean, I don't know if there's something Dylan wants to say more about it or.
Yeah, I mean, it was, pretty much everything that Harun just said. I mean, we were doing a lot of shows, obviously. So it was just, it was like a natural phase where it was building up to it. But with the pandemic kind of hitting in March of 2020, it did leave a lot of uncertainty and a lot of, I guess you could say anxiety. I know I can speak for myself, but I can't speak for like Harun or anybody else in the band. But yeah, there was that level where it was just like we didn't know like what was going to happen afterwards. I mean, there were a lot of tunes that we had like in the ballpark, but we were building up, and then when the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, we use that time to like go back and just like rehash some of the material we were kind of doing on our own times in our own separate places during that period. So it did allow us for more time to eventually get better with this record. And I would say like maybe if the pandemic never hit, I don't know where we would be at with this particular recording. It definitely would have happened, but probably not at the quality level that we ultimately got. And I think that allowed us for more time for that.
How would you describe, the sound of the new album compared to your debut album?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I feel like a lot of artists maybe it's split. Like sometimes you have a kind of a grandiose plan for things, and sometimes it's just kind of a natural progression. It might have been a little bit of both. Like we definitely wanted to, I feel like, experiment a little bit more, but like still be relevant, still be like, I guess, catchy or mainstream for lack of a better term. I think it was just a natural evolution in a lot of ways. I mean, even the title speaks to that. And kind of like we kind of updated our bio like recently talking about all that stuff. And it was like, just as like the first record was, it kicked some serious butt for what it was, which was a solid record on the local scene at the time where we came from. And now it's like we're kind of branching out to kind of a more national level, more international. So we wanted, certainly the quality to be there. And then, yeah, with the pandemic and all these other issues, it's like, it could be potentially maybe the last record we ever make. I mean, who knows? Maybe the world will end, by the time the pandemic's over, right? So it's like, why not put the balls to the wall, work your ass off, great songs, great production, no expense spared, because you never know what's going to happen. And ironically, in some weird way, maybe that's how you should treat every record you do. But it's that natural growth, and it'd been kind of a while since the self-titled. So like I say, like I really feel like we grew almost like 2 records worth like in this production, and then to have like Ted Jensen tied to the mastering, and all these other kind of doors like opening, like it was just a beautiful experience. I don't know, for lack of a better word, but it's also very natural progression, I feel like.
Now, you mentioned Ted Jensen. What was it like working with him? He's worked on Hotel California, Green Day's American Idiot. He's done got a really impressive resume. What was it like working with him and being in the room with him?
Well, it's cool. It's funny you mentioned that. So we weren't actually physically in the room with him. If you think about pandemic, And it's crazy. So he used to have a studio space in the city where they were doing the mastering, but like, with like rent increases and the cost of stuff, like they had actually moved their operations to Nashville like years ago. So it was very much an online process. And actually, what it really was thankfully our buddy John, who was the engineer on this record, and he mixed it with us. We tracked it with him at Portrait Recording Studios in New Jersey. He had Ted as kind of a contact, and he has branched out. I think he always worked with independent artists, provided he liked the material, like it was above a certain quality. He was a fan of the songwriting, like something you wouldn't be embarrassed to attach your name to, for lack of like a better description. But he does work with like varying artists of like all kinds of scales. It's still business at the end of the day. And but yeah, our buddy John was able to hook us up with that, and like that's just such a tremendous name to be able to attach to the album, especially as an independent artist.
Yeah, even though we never met him like physically, exactly. Like even though we never met him like in a physical, like we weren't in the same room with him or anything like that, it was still like very surreal to have that name be attached onto our record, because it's like that's something that we're gonna take with us for the rest of our lives, even after we're dead and gone. So it's like it's something that, like, for me personally as a musician, it's like whenever I'm playing or whenever I'm playing the songs that I wrote on, or like the pieces that I wrote on this record, I'm always going to think, wow, Ted Denson was a part of this. And it's like, it was definitely like a real, it was definitely something special to me. And it was definitely a moment where I was like, all right, things are happening for us, and things are happening for us for the better. And this is only just the beginning from this point on.
Well, let's preview one of the cuts from the new album, Consilience. Here is Over Everything. We'll be right back with Harun and Dylan of Libricide after this.
So sick and tired of dousing fires in worlds of iron gain. Have I been just another victim of the things I could have changed? This feels so dictated. Find my place to stave this off my name. Just when we think we've made it, fortune's fading, chasing after you. You'll never let it go. It's always winding. Don't bring me down, don't bring me down.
right, that was Over Everything here on WUSB. I'm with Harun Dylan and Dylan Stark of Libricide. Now, what's interesting, you guys also have another, I guess, YouTube channel, if you will, or like Libricide Productions, where you actually do playthroughs of the songs and you kind of go behind the scenes of, what it's like, what the song's like, if just guitar or just drums. How did that come about?
Yeah, so I don't know if maybe you're confusing with so we have like the Libricide Studios arm, which is like separate. It's kind of like more viral content production that we do. That still, pulls viewers back into the whole Libricide experience and brand. Yeah, we certainly have just the Libricide YouTube channel, which is cool. We've been trying to, we've been sleeping on that for a little bit. So we're trying to get a lot more content out to you guys. We did, a bunch of playthrough videos. We have a lyric video up there for Over Everything, which is really cool. We're actually in the process of working through some music videos and stuff, hoping to shoot this summer and all that. So we got a lot of interesting stuff in the works for sure. And, if you guys want to check it out, it's, youtube.com/Libricide is the band page. And then youtube.com/Libricide Studios has all the extra kind of viral kind of fun that we do as well. So you kind of got both of those things if you're looking for some fun content to check out.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I meant. I know you have a lot of fun viral content, and then you have also the playthroughs, and so it's actually another. In a sense, it's not because you have the recordings, you have the live performances, and then you have this other sort of online. There's like a content marketing or production part of it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that was the beauty of Libre. Like, Libricide as it stands is, I genuinely feel is, a phenomenal project, has a lot to offer. We're going to do a lot more into it too. So interesting that when we were thinking of things that were like a little bit outside of the box, maybe, or people were like, is this a band? What is this? Like, we were getting questions like that early on. It's like, oh, we should probably at least separate, kind of these two, I guess, arms of the same brand. But we're getting it maybe a little ahead of myself, but I'm excited to say, and I don't care because I'm serious about it. We're looking to get into more. We've already started with video production, but film down the line and all that. Libricide Studios could very well be its own entity, on a significant scale down the line as well. That was kind of the thought behind that too.
Let's get into the music a little more. So the new album, it's named Consilience. What's behind the name there? But Consilience, it's a very interesting term or phrase. Why that name?
Yeah, again, it was kind of the natural progression of things. Whereas Libricide was a self-titled and local, Consilience literally translates to the unity of knowledge. And it worked on a couple levels. Specifically in regards to the record, it was a much more collaborative process. So in that sense, we were unifying, so to speak, the knowledge of the songwriters, the band members, whereas, I did a majority of the writing and arranging on the first record myself. This was much more of a collaborative effort. So we kind of, everybody's brains went into this think tank to make it that much better. And honestly, it came up significantly in quality after we had workshopped it and arranged a little bit more from what it was originally, what the demos were. So Consilience is very much that, and also the inclusion of getting to work with John, our engineer, and then also Ted. It was just this combination and this growth, kind of describing the phase, but also kind of the next step of Libricide, because it still touches on what is Libricide, the destruction of knowledge, the burning of books. So it just seemed like it was just a kind of a gorgeous but still singular word that really encapsulated what that next phase was.
Yeah, I mean, it was fitting for what we were doing at the time, and also the name Consilience. It was it was a name when we were first coming up with it. It was before the events of today's world kind of unraveled. So when we were thinking about it at the time, and we were just thinking about oh, this is a really cool idea for the next record. It really, once we put everything together, and then once 2020 rolled around, the name couldn't have fit in a much better time than it did now, because you look at everything that was going on between the pandemic, inflation, the presidential elections, all the chaos that was going on. It was really a fitting title for what the world was like, what the world was experiencing at the time. And it was definitely something that was it's something that would definitely stand the time, in my opinion.
Dylan, why don't you talk about the musical influence? And Harun, you can jump in here too, as well, because this album, it's definitely, it's a little different from the debut album. There's definitely more varied styles on the songs. You have all different sorts of influences. Why don't you talk a little about what influenced you with this album, guitar wise, and then songwriting wise as well?
Okay, so that's how much time do we have for this interview? This could go on for like 2 hours. but yeah, so it was for me personally, it was my influences I gathered from just like listening to a lot of different artists at the time. And it was also something that was like an evolutionary type process. So like when we were like writing the album, I was listening to a lot of European type bands, whether it be symphonic bands, progressive rock, progressive metal bands. I was into bands like Seventh Wonder, Camelot, and of course I channeled in some Dream Theater. Like Dream Theater has always been like a big influence of mine. But I would say as a guitar player, I was listening to a lot of Pat Metheny, who played with Joni Mitchell, Eric Johnson, especially on songs like Them Without You. I channeled a lot of Eric Johnson influence with that. But when it comes to bands, I would say I was listening to Tool, Foo Fighters. There's a lot of that on the record too. And it wasn't just like me, it was also like Harun brought in different influences. Like he even brought like rap and hip hop to this record. He brought in some like more of the gent sort of death growls to this record too. So it was like yeah, exactly. It was like it was a combination of sounds. I mean, like me, I brought in a lot of that, and I also, similar to the previous record, I brought in a little like 80s guitar influence too, especially with some of the guitar solos. So I was thinking of like what guitars to use for certain songs and certain solos. So I was channeling a lot of that. I used different kind of guitars when it came to certain types of songs too. I used my to-go-to guitars for a lot of the songs, like my Ibanez I use for a ballpark of the solos. I use my Les Paul for a lot of the leads and overdubs and even some rhythm guitar stuff. Them Without You, I actually used, I channeled a lot of Alice in Chains, Jerry Cantrell, and even some like country influence where I was, when we were recording that song, I was doing a lot of like voice chords and all that kind of stuff. And I was even tracking using a Fender Telecaster and a Fender Stratocaster in the studio. And I was able to grab one of my old white Stratocasters that I took out of retirement, and I actually recorded that for the solo. So there was a lot of different sounds that went into this record. And I can't speak for myself solely. I think Harun can also chime in like what he can bring in too.
Yeah, Harun, go ahead. How what did you, just in terms of guitars and writing and lyrics? Dylan mentioned there's some hip hop elements in tracks like Work Right Now. You got some screaming and I guess growling, if you will. But talk about that too. How you channeled all that into this new album.
Well, we certainly got heavier where we needed to get heavier. It's funny because it's like, not mixed reviews. I mean, people get it, but like some people are even like, oh, why do you like, kind of like older generation folks are like, why you got to scream on the record and all that? I'm just like, I don't, that's kind of how, if you have kind of an angry moment or something you're really trying to convey powerfully, like sometimes that helps, but that was what was so cool. That is what is so cool about this record is such that like such a wide breadth of music is coming from, you have like the screaming, the head on one end, you have the hip hop stuff, we have ballads, we have straight ahead rock, but it's all still encapsulated under this umbrella of us. And you know, you hear the early influences, you hear the contemporary influences, but it also still sounds like, I think, fresh and radio friendly in its own way. And I mean, I don't know, dude, like when I was writing some of the stuff that I was writing for it, I don't know, like I wasn't necessarily thinking about a certain artist or influence specifically. Like I don't even know if there was a joke, I think, like Misha Mansour said from Periphery. It's like I don't even listen to anything but Periphery anymore, because it's just like, it's like your job, so that's kind of all you spend time on. But it's weird. But at the same time, like I took, like, weirdly enough, a little bit of influence from like Kanye West on the work right now, like on the choruses and stuff. It was once again, it was just really kind of a healthy and natural like transition and follow up to the first record. And I know, like, I'm pretty sure Dylan and I have like different approaches to songwriting too. Up until this point, I have a very top-down approach to songwriting. So I'll come up with like an idea or a title or a concept, and then kind of formulate the music around that, and then the lyrics come. But it was also, you know, trying to come up with more like captivating concepts and ideas, and like stuff that could potentially not be more interesting, but be even, you know, a slightly more, at least more profound follow-up to the first record. Because it's like, if you know us and if you listen to our first record, like it might work for AC/DC, but like we can't keep writing the same song over and over again. Like we have to grow. And if we, you know, growing into the third record is going to require more chops and different chops. And like I acknowledge that, like, it takes, you know, working on more guitar. If I don't want to sound redundant, I got to go to new places and learn new things constantly. And like that's what that is, I feel like, mostly a reflection of. And like, yeah, it had been a little while since that first record, so we definitely grew a lot, and we wanted to showcase that. But you know what, for the next one, it's definitely not going to be as long, but I still feel like we'll have a significant amount of growth too. So that's pretty exciting in and of itself.
When as we grow, like we grow musically, so what we're listening to now will be different in like 5 years from now. Like some of the influence I've mentioned, some of the influences that Harun mentioned, we may take influence from different kind of artists and different kind of styles in the next record. Who knows? But that's what makes music great, and that's what makes the evolutionary process of a band great too, because you're always changing, you're always developing. That's why a lot of the bands like Def Leppard to Green Day to Foo Fighters, that's why they were able to stand the test of time, because they didn't stay the same. They always changed. They always progressed to different sounds.
We're talking with Dylan and Harun of Libricide on WUSB. Let's check out another song off their new album, Consilience. Here's them, Without You.
I don't wanna be seen as someone else to sell you heaven. It's how to heal your soul when things are going nowhere. I fought my hardest, imploring those who won't care about what I feel when I feel how I feel. Some of the greatest vibes we've tasted in a moment just fade away. Some are pain and some are jaded, some are dead down yesterday. Learning to feel, finding what's real in a moment. Everything changed, and though the journey's long and we lose loved ones, at least we got today. So when the world feels like it's pushing down around you, and there's still not a place you'll ever be safe, feel the storms we've come across. I pray that what you feel is strong enough to walk away. And now we find alone they were before you came, but no one's gonna come around to save your day. Some of the greatest laughs we've tasted in a moment just fade away. Some are pain and some are jaded, some are tipped out yesterday. Learning to feel finding what's real in a moment. Everything changed, and though the journey's long and we lose loved ones, at least we got today.
That was Them Without You by Libricide. Let's get back now to our interview with Harun and Dylan. What's coming up for you guys? I heard you'll be playing a festival in Atlantic City.
Heck yeah, man. It's going to be awesome. It's actually this coming weekend, but it's just, I guess, another testament to the growth. I mean, like, call us lucky, call us whatever, right place, right time. But, the record was still there to speak for us and to kind of have us make the cut to be able to play this festival. But like, we're playing with Stone Temple Pilots, Hoobastank, Puddle of Mud, who we have played with before. But also like John 5, like Treach from Naughty by Nature is going to be there. Like it really is.
LA Guns.
LA Guns, Dangerous Toys. Like it's really a testament to like kind of how far we've come with, and don't forget, we're still doing this as independent artists. Like we're not signed like yet anyway, So yeah.
So, oh no, it's okay. I was about to say, yeah. So like, who knows where the doors will like open from this point on? I mean, I'm personally excited. I know Harun's very excited for this festival. Who knows where the next step will be after this festival? Who knows? Maybe some more opportunities will open for even bigger festivals. We'll see what happens.
We actually do have plenty of opportunities, but we're still working on the press and promotion for this album. So it's like, it's a tough thing. You got to balance, you don't want to spread yourself too thin. And I'm almost like, heck, I'd rather do like one big festival every couple months than, a bunch of like local divey kind of shows, but like, we don't even really do those anymore. So yeah, I mean, it's just a matter of timing and if things make sense,
Absolutely. You mentioned being, you're an independent artist. You've been not only, putting out albums, but you have a great history of touring. You're a hardworking band. What advice do you have for, rock bands out there, or, just live musicians in general, in terms of just, writing songs and playing live? What advice do you have for, people who want to get into this?
Be your individual self. I mean, like don't be fake. Don't be folding into pressure. Don't write something just because it's the most popular thing, because ultimately what's popular now will be a thing of the past the next day. Just be yourself, be your independent self. If you have talent, if you have something that you want to showcase to the world, showcase it. If the world accepts you for who you are, that's amazing. If they don't, you tried and you just keep going with it. So the beauty with us is that we never really sold ourselves out. We never folded to anything. Yeah, we'll do like covers of popular tunes here and there, especially through our Libricide Studios channel, but we're not catering to be like a corporate sellout. I think that's like one of the things that makes us special, is that we are a band of longevity. We're not one of those trying to be a one-hit wonder group. We are in for the long run. So if you are the upcoming artist, be yourself, be in for the music and not for the money. because let's be face it, there is no money in this business anyway. But yeah, eventually, but there's not gonna be any money at first, but just keep going. Just don't give up, and just keep the motor rolling. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, and definitely be the best version of yourself. They always say, like, don't try to be anybody else. Like as Dylan said, be yourself, be the best version of yourself, because there isn't another you. And at the end of the day, that's what connects with audiences the most, is you being the best, most genuine version of yourself. That's what sets you apart from any crowds or any fads or anything like that.
Great advice. Where can people find you online?
Oh, dude, we're everywhere. I mean, it depends what you guys want to do. We're on all the music, streaming and sale platforms. Spotify, Apple Music. I mean, you could find us on SoundCloud if you wanted to. But we're on YouTube too. And then and all the standard social media. Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We have a Patreon for Libricide Studios for anybody who's interested being more a part of the collaborative process and getting to see more of the behind the scenes stuff. So we're doing that. We actually started a GoFundMe to help with kind of record costs, and you could like get your name attached to, the record as a thank you and all that stuff. So we're everywhere you can find us, man. Like whatever your platform is, we're there for you. And we're on TikTok too. So.
Well, Harun Dylan, thank you so much for joining me today on WUSB. And we look forward to hearing more from you guys, and definitely going to have you in the studio, hopefully sooner than later, and we'll catch you around. We can't wait for you guys to come out to Long Island and or even New York City as well. We're just a train ride away. So guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, man.
We love you, buddy. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you for having us.
You're listening to WUSB-Stony Brook. You can hear us online at WUSB.FM. Shout out to Harun Dylan and Dylan Stark for coming on to catch us up on the new album Consilience, which you can now purchase or stream. The band will be performing at the Orange Rock Loop Festival in Atlantic City on Sunday, June 12th. Libricide can be found on all major social media platforms, Patreon, and of course, Libricide.com. I will have the links up on Anything Goes playlist on WUSB.FM. I'll leave you now with Last Time from Libricide.
Suffering, well, I've heard the masses scream and shout, but it's clear you